Welcome to Ask Your Spirit Guides with Dr. Victoria Shaw, your weekly gateway to divine guidance and soul alignment. Each week, intuitive counselor and spiritual teacher Dr. Victoria Shaw connects with spirit to bring through live channeled messages from your personal guides, offering clarity, healing, and support on your journey. Whether you receive a personal reading or simply tune in, know that every episode delivers a powerful, energetic transmission meant just for you. We're live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific on Soul Search TV, streaming online on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our mobile app. Take a deep breath, open your heart, and prepare to receive. This is Ask Your Spirit Guides. And your journey starts now. I'm wearing a tank top. Is that okay? I'm like, that's fine. Welcome to Ask Your Spirit Guides with Dr. Victoria Shaw. Welcome, everyone, to Ask Your Spirit Guides with Dr. Victoria Shaw, live here on Soul Search TV. Welcome, welcome. We are so excited because Victoria Shaw is an incredible intuitive counselor, spiritual guide, who is bringing through messages from your spirit guides to support you in your soul's evolution. Dr. Victoria Shaw combines her Ivy League training in psychology and counseling with her intuitive gifts to help clients realize their full personal and spiritual potential. She especially loves working with people who are committed to using their struggles or life experiences to fuel their own spiritual awakening. Victoria is the author of 4 self-help books for parents, children, and teens, the host of the top-rated Intuitive Connection podcast, and the star of Living in Alignment on Soul Search TV, which you can check out anytime on demand. She's also the owner of Cactus Blossom Retreat in Hidden Meadows, California. So welcome, Victoria.
Yay,
thank you so much for being here and bringing our guide.
Yay, episode 2. I'm excited today for sure. And I wanted to start, I know we have some people coming on for readings, but before we did that, I wanted to share.
Definitely.
Yeah. I wanted to share a little bit about your spirit guides. The way I envisioned this was a little bit of fun facts about your guides and then the readings. And the one that came to me today, and everything that I do is intuitively and guided. So the one that the guides knocked on my shoulder to share with you all today is a really common question I get when I'm teaching about spirit guides and how to connect. And the question is, do you have to know who they are? And do you have to know their names? And the short answer to that question is absolutely not no. Not important at all. At least not from their perspective. You know, your guides are always working with you from the minute you were born to the minute that you cross over into your next chapter. Your guides are going to be with you and supporting you. And even if you don't even believe in spirit guides, even if you say, you know, I don't even know what they are and I don't want to look at them, they're still on your team. They're still there. They're still supporting you, whether you know about them or not. So you don't need to know their names or their identities for them to support you. However, sometimes we like to do that. And a lot of times in the human realm, right, we are understanding that spiritual side, right, the other side of the veil, right, from our human understanding. The guides often use the term the human conceptual apparatus, right, the way that we understand and conceptualize things, right? And so oftentimes they need to get to us through that. And in the human world, we like to have names. We like to have individuated identities like this is Tangela, this is Allison, this is Victoria, right? And so our guides are really happy to work with us that way. And the guides are also saying to me that to some degree, you know, we all do have these individual weighted perspectives and energetic signatures. And so we are to some degrees unique beings with unique perspectives, right? And so that's really helpful too. So that individuation can be really, really helpful for us. Okay. And it is a fact about who you are when you're having this experience and also who some of your guides are as you're connecting with them. But you don't necessarily need to know who they are. And in fact, sometimes I find that need to know can actually, oh, that's Scott. Sorry. All right, cool. Hi, Scott. I find that sometimes it actually can get in the way of our connecting. Because what happens is our need to know and understand our guides so hard from that human lens, right? We kind of look at that through this sort of, peephole, and it can block us from all the ways they're already connecting with us. Okay. So the short answer to that question is you don't have to know your guides' names, but you can. You can ask them, you can know, you can be curious, you can, open yourself to that possibility. And I always say if the guides give you a name or you think it's the name, it is. Go with it, run with it, have fun with it. Occasionally, we grab a name out of ego because we want to know maybe our guide is like a famous or important person, or a god or a goddess or something like that. And so if you're going at it from that very egoic place, and that's not to say that your guides can't be these energies and entities. Many of the guides that I've worked with over the years are what I call brand name guides, and they're guides with recognizable names. They might be ascended masters or archangels or gods or goddesses or deities or famous people. One of my primary teachers, her main guides when she started doing this work were the Beatles. So, that can totally happen too. But sometimes the only thing I see is sometimes people are going at it from a place of ego because they somehow believe, if my guide is Jesus, that's better than if my guide is, Joe Schmo, that I don't have a recognizable name for. And that's not really true at all. Some of the most powerful guides may not necessarily be ones that we recognize, from our human history. But otherwise, whatever, and even if you do get one of those names, I'd still go with it. Always just trust what you get first and go from there. And just be open for it to change, for it to evolve, for you to get like a broader understanding as you continue that communication. And if you don't get a name, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I swear to you, it is not the most important thing. And again, sometimes we get stuck on needing specific details that feel really important to our human selves that are actually completely irrelevant to our higher selves. Okay. So I would say for sure that if you want to know your guides' names, that is something that you can absolutely tune into and ask them. But again, you don't have to know. They're working for you all the time, even if you don't believe in them. Cool beans. All right. So that's the fun fact I wanted to share. And now I know we have a couple people that want to come on and have some spirit guide readings. So I'm gonna transition over to that. And I'm so used to doing these as Q&A that I'm like waiting for my questions on what I presented, but it's just me talking to air. Oh, I see your lips moving, Tangela. Did you want to pop in and share something?
Yes, I'm just saying I'm going to bring on our first guest for
Cool beans.
our beloved Scott Katamas. Welcome, Scott.
Yay.
How much fun? Well, I love Victoria and I love you. So this is a fun, spontaneous opportunity.
Awesome. Awesome. And she just said Scott, and I was so thinking about so many things. I was like, oh, Scott. Yay. I've never given Scott a reading. All right. So I'm going to tell you before I tell everyone that the way that I work is I'm going to say a little prayer. I'm going to tune into Scott's energy. I'm going to tune into his guides and his higher self and any other beautiful evolved energies that want to come to play with us today. And then I will pass the microphone over to him and ask him what he would like guidance on. It's always easier for me in these group settings to have a focused question, but I don't need one. And then I'm going to tell you, Scott, and everybody listening, so I only have to say this once, is that the way that I see the work that I do is that I'm a conduit or channel for you to get your own answers. Because I believe that we all have those inside of us, and we all have this innate knowing. And so anything in the world, including an intuitive reading, but I really think anything, it's not for us to give our power and our knowledge and our wisdom to somebody else's authority. It's about us to use the information that we have, try it on for size, and see if it feels right in our very own hearts. Because if it's coming out of these lips and it lands, it was never mine, and it was never mine, and it was always yours. So I always want to start with that. All right. Oh my gosh, your energy is just so delicious. All right, I'm going to ask the ministry of angels around myself and my client, Scott Thomas, with your beautiful white light. You have so many guides around you as I open, which is not surprising. As I open my heart to divine unconditional love and ask to connect to my highest self, guides and angels, and those of my client, Scott. I ask to be a clear channel with which to receive and communicate their wisdom. I ask to release any expectations I have towards the outcome of the work that we do together today. And I ask that the outcome of this work serve the highest and greatest good. And Scott, a message is coming through for you before I'm even going to ask you what you want to know. So I hope that's okay.
Lovely.
You have so much energy behind you and so many guides. It's like, it's like, a football stadium full of them. It's really quite remarkable. Just a lot of powerful, what the guides are saying is like enlightenment energy behind you. And your mission and purpose, the guides say, is very, very, very crystal clear to you. And you're very unwavering in your approach to all of that. And they applaud you for that. This is their lingo. They say, we applaud you for that. Like you're really they're like, you're really showing up to the plate, and just consistently, hitting them out of the park. So they want to say that to you. And they're also going to say, and you may already be feeling this, you're on the brink of another huge, for yourself, like spiritual awakening. And I don't know if you're like me, but I often joke I've lived I think I'm up to 26 lives in this body. Really, I think about sometimes when I see someone, if I do see someone that I haven't seen in 10, 15 years, I'm like, they don't even know who I am. They know who she was, but it's like it even 4 years ago, they don't know who I am. And I feel for you, this is a big one. You're more of a big leaper. So you haven't had 22, probably 5 really big times in your life where everything just expanded and exploded. And on the other side, you found yourself on a whole new level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you're just on the brink of a huge one now. So just go with it. Again, you may change some things that you think, most of what you think is fine and consistent, but it's really going to affect both your impact in the world. So how you put yourself out there. But also they're showing me this beautiful relationship you have with your own inner child.
Mm.
And just, it's a real full circle moment for you where you've really just learned to be such a protector, such a nurturer, such a lover, such a playmate of, such a friend to your own inner child.
Mm.
And they say because of that, moving forward, you're going to experience a sense of personal and emotional freedom that you haven't yet known before.
Wow.
And so, yeah, they really want you to flow with it. Don't worry. Don't hold back, really enjoy it. And just know that you're very much in the flow and that life is to be enjoyed.
Mm.
Okay. And that's the biggest piece. Life is to be enjoyed. So do you have any questions? That was so fun.
Oh my gosh. In a situation like this, when I'm with someone like you that I trust, I just, whatever, especially since I have a fleet of guides, apparently, really, whatever they want me to know,
Yeah.
really, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
whatever they most want me to know is really is my question.
Yeah. Are you thinking at all moving forward in terms of a romantic partnership? Is that something that you feel comfortable talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I know a few things about you. We have met a couple of times, and I know that you had a very significant relationship, and your wife passed. And her energy is here right now, and she just wants you to know it's okay to move on.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay to move on. And yeah, she said, and I'm going to say, yeah, you think you've known that. Right. But a certain part of your story up until now has been to idealize that relationship, which was a really beautiful relationship. So there's nothing wrong with it, but idealize it, she says, and your guides more particularly say, in such a way that it didn't leave room in your heart for the possibility of more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I even joke about it. I call her Saint Suchi.
Yeah.
When somebody passes away, then all of a sudden you just remember all the good stuff, and they become this angelic saint.
She's funny because she's like, oh no, that was me. She's like, I'm not telling you. She's really funny. She's like, I'm not telling you to desanctify me. I'm just saying there can be more out there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We have in the human world, and I'm just switching into my mind a little bit, but the guides say go ahead. We have this idea that there's one partner for life.
Yeah, no,
right? And for you, she was maybe up until now the most significant partner and an important partner. And you don't need another partner to be satisfied, but she's saying he kind of wants one. Like you know what I mean? And just to recognize, like, I had this amazing thing, and now I can have it again, and maybe something more. And she says it's not, and again, your brain is going to say it's not, but I can just read your energy if I'm reading it correctly and you're in your space. So like if you know, but there's a little bit, there's still a little feeling, would it be disrespectful to, this person and this relationship, which was so monumentous and so important. And she was just such a beautiful, realized soul. That's the word that comes through. She just was really a beautiful person, and she uplifted you so much through that relationship. I mean, it was momentous is the word that just keeps coming through. Just such a beautiful thing. But she's like, it's okay to want more. It's okay to want more. You deserve that, and you can have that. It's not a one-time shot. And she's like, don't worry, no one will ever live up to me. Right? But they don't have to. They don't have to, because it's not a comparison.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I would love to be in the right relationship. What I'm not willing to do is be in a relationship that gets me off track, or that takes up time and energy and isn't moving life forward in a positive way.
Yeah.
So when I think about, and I fantasize a lot about being back in a relationship, and there's no part of me that I'm aware of that feels that it would be disrespectful to her. But what is true is that my standards are really high now,
In there.
Yeah, standards are high, and I'm ideally would love to have a great life partner. That's my first choice.
Yeah.
But I'm happy single. I'm okay single, and I'm not willing to be in a bad relationship or a funky relationship.
She just wants you to know that it's possible. She just wants you to know it's possible. She says that she and the guides, they're all kind of conglomerated, which is the other thing I was going to say at the beginning. Our guides are not necessarily individualized entities. They can be in soul groups. They can present to you that way. Or sometimes I'll say they have a pointy face, that like one personality is like at the front, but that's not the only energy you're talking to. And that's how she's presenting. She's like, it's me and my tribe, and they're your tribe too.
Sure.
Which I think you recognize that. But what they're saying is, first of all, we hear you dreaming. It's okay. And stop putting limitations on the experience. Like, yeah, you know what you know. Like, I'm with you. I don't want like a relationship that I don't want. Like, and a lot of people do, like, they're still in that phase through like,
right. Gotta be in a
romantic partnership, how to be in a relationship, what I like, what I don't like, and you're over that.
Yeah.
But there's a little piece of you, if I'm reading you correctly, and of course, tell me if I'm wrong. I might be stubborn on this, but you still are right if you think I'm wrong. That doesn't fully believe it's possible to find somebody else that meets that bar. And she says it's not a comparison. It's going to be apples to oranges. It's going to be someone who awakens something different in you than I did.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah. And just be open, because I don't feel there's anything you have to do or try. Just remember it's possible. She's on your team. She'd like that. And this is going to seem a little creepy, but it's how it's coming through. She's like, to some degrees, it'll always be like a spiritual threesome, like I'll always be with you and working through you. And though, you'll have an intimate partnership on earth of which I can no longer participate, it won't be a disservice to me. I'm always going to be your divine partner.
Beautiful. That's not creepy at all. I'm totally down for
cool deal.
with Suchi and some other wonderful woman.
Yeah. And I feel that her energy will be with this person,
Yeah.
whether, in some way it's, and it may even be someone that you both knew.
Send her. I'm ready.
Okay.
Send her.
Beautiful. Anything else because we got time before we move on to Amy and Tangela?
Last thing, is there anything in terms of my world service, whether it's Awakening World or my love coaching or anything else, that my guides steer me in a particular direction or offer any input of how I can be better at what I do?
Okay. They're like so clear. They're like, don't hold back. Okay. I don't know what this means. They're like, don't hold back. And they're giving me the image of you with like a blowhorn. And they need you to be with a blowhorn and have fun with a blowhorn, like I'm doing this show. I do these things. I like doing this. This is fun. And I know that you love doing what you do too. And you also have a lot of integrity and you have like a lot of experience as like a, producer and all of that. So I think sometimes that dampens the joy a little bit. Like you get a little tired. And so, I don't think you're going to stop doing it, but follow the flows. If there's things that you've always dreamed of doing that have nothing to do with what you're doing now, but sound fun, especially if they involve you having a wider voice and your voice, as opposed to the beautiful champion you are for other people's voices, which you don't necessarily need to stop doing either. But your voice really needs to be heard right now, just a little bit more. And so really like that blowhorn, they say, getting out there and doing the things that you love to do. And there's one more thread coming through, so I want to grab it. In terms of the love coaching piece, and I've had the honor of seeing you work, and you're just absolutely amazing and beautiful. What do they want to say? There's a way, you already do this, but there's a way to expand that even beyond where you've been doing it, who you've been doing it with, and how you've been doing it. Because love coaching, and this because Marshall's coming through to share, it's a way of life. It's a way of relating to people. It's a way of heart opening for the whole planet or the whole world. And he says, thank you, my friend, for being the next person, to one of the next people, but you are very significant in the lineage and the work that he created and taking it to the next level. But again, he's really being clear. He's like, don't be afraid to make it your own and to expand well beyond what I started. It's very important that you do that. He says it's your duty. He uses the word duty. Okay. Which is very specific. And I don't think it's a problem, but don't be afraid to let your freak flag fly too, in all respects. Just do you, be you, do it your way. Don't worry anymore about meeting people where they're at. There's a way to do it to be respectful, but you don't dim your light for people whose eyeballs haven't adjusted yet to the brightness. You just find the ones that are ready to see what you have to share.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That was fun.
Thank you, my God. Thank you for coming out. How much fun.
The bomb.
Yay.
Yay. So fun. Yay. Amazing, Scott. Amazing messages. And not surprised you have a fleet of guides around you. That's to be expected. And so I'm going to bring on Deborah now.
Okay.
Deborah, if you want to join the video and come off mute, we would love to have you come on board for your reading with Victoria here. Let's see here.
What a great way to get the party started.
I know. Wow, that was amazing. So here we go. Hey, Deborah.
Do it.
Hey, how are you?
Yes.
Good. Sorry, I made a mistake and I scheduled myself on a weird kind of day.
We're gonna get you as best we can.
Okay, I'm driving through a canyon, so there's some cell phone service. So
all right. Well, be careful.
Okay. Oh, I'm okay. Believe me, I'm hands-free. So I had a significant change that my husband died in November 1st of 2022. My lifestyle I knew had to change. And so I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I haven't drank in 2 years, 4 months. And I think I met my person. And I believe it's divinely inspired. I believe my husband supports it. However, it's not an easy relationship because he's single 12 years. He doesn't include people in.
All right, you're cutting out a little bit.
Well,
It's so
that was
funny that
it.
we have
Am
a
I-
theme today. It
Yeah.
always works that way. Isn't that cool? All right. So here's where we left off. I'm going to tell you what I heard and what I didn't. And then if there's any fleshing out, let me know, and then I'll tune into your energy. So I hear that you lost your husband 2 years ago. You're ready to move on. You've
Yes.
met someone, and you're
Yes.
asking me, is this the person?
Am I imagining it? And the reason I say that is he's been single 12 years.
No, that's
He,
yeah. So what I'm going to do is
there's
I'm going to tune into
fears.
your energy. I'm going to get his
Okay.
first name. Let me see what I get. Okay. Without you
Okay.
giving me
All
too
right.
much more. No,
Okay.
because I don't
All right.
want to be
That's
reading your
great.
mind. I want to
Awesome.
see, I want to get a read on him and get
Sure.
from there, because I got the gist of the question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask the
Okay.
Ministry of Angels surround myself and my client, Deborah, with your
Okay.
beautiful white light. As I open my heart to divine unconditional love, I'm just giving you need a lot of this love and white light because you've been through the ringer. And asked to connect my highest self, guides, and
I have.
angels, and those of my client, Deborah. Yeah, you just really are just drinking in that white love and that white light and unconditional love. I know, I see it. All right. And I asked to be a clear channel with which to receive and communicate their wisdom. I asked to release any expectations I have towards the outcome of the work that we do together today. And I asked that the outcome of this work serve the highest and greatest good. And please just keep your beautiful attention on the road too. Though you look like you have angels all around you. So I think you're just perfectly fine. All right. I'm going to give you a little bit more because what you really, I feel, need right now is that angelic love and support. And I look at your journey, and though, your guides really applaud you for all the choices that you've made in your life, because they took some serious, they say serious courage and serious effort, serious, like it wasn't easy. It wasn't inevitable. It was something, it could have gone either way, and you nailed it. Is she still there? I lost her. I'm going to keep reading her. Hopefully she'll come back. There you are. Good deal. And so they just want to honor you for that. They just want to let you know how powerful you are, and that this wasn't a foregone conclusion that you were going to accomplish what you have. And I get the read from you that you're not going to go back. Like it's a one-way door for you. And I don't feel that you're going to regret, once you climb that hill, like you're not climbing it the other way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's huge. That's huge. That's the first thing that you want to know. Now, on the thing of relationships, you're still learning a lot from your pairings and your couplings. Now, your deceased husband, can you give me a name? Because I feel his energy. You're muted. You got to unmute yourself. And while you're in the process of becoming unmuted, I will say too.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, now I do. What is his name, please?
Gordon. Or Thomas. Yeah. Sometimes he's called Thomas.
Okay.
Well, Gordon.
On the other side, it's good. He was a character. I like Gordon better than Thomas. Thomas was a little bit too. Of Thomas. Wow, you had Jekyll and Hyde going on there. So Gordon said he had a complicated life.
I know.
He was very manipulative. He was not always a straight shooter. And he said, she took me at face value, sometimes to her detriment, but together we had a wild time. Yeah. Okay. That's what he's saying. He's still processing his life. So, I see people in various. So it's not that a part of us crosses over right away. This is how I see it. Different people see it differently. So I can only speak to my experience, but I can always reach someone's higher self. And then the human self, when it crosses, sometimes that reunification feels very immediate to me. And sometimes there's still the image I have for him is he's still mopping up some of the mess that he made before he crossed. Okay. So he's still on mop duty, he says. He's still cleaning up
What?
some messes.
Okay.
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 But
Okay.
okay, that seems to land. But he like, believes very strongly in you, and he has a very invested interest in seeing how you are going to clean up the mess that y'all made together. And a lot of it was his mess that he just kind of left in your bathroom. You know what I mean? And so you're working,
Yeah.
you're working with that.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're working with that. And he
Yeah.
says, you're doing a good job. And your guides say you're doing a good job. Now for this new fellow, he says, if you look at him objectively, which you don't always do,
No.
there are elements of me, not me, but like elements of the way that I was in this man.
Oh.
And those things scare you a little bit. They scare you a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll see flashes,
Yeah.
you'll see glimmers, you'll see things that remind you of the things that you didn't like about the previous relationship. Or alternatively, there's things, reactions that you have that remind you of things from the previous relationship. And that's when you question and doubt yourself. Okay. Now, what's the new guy's name?
Luis.
Louis.
But it's really Luis is what it is. It's Portuguese. Okay. Luis.
Beautiful. Yeah. So he does have that same charming nature.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You like the charmers. And
he does.
He says he knows how to present himself in a way that is beneficial to getting what he wants and what he needs.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay. And you probably, in your previous relationship, you like the fun ones. You like the excitement. You like the hairy, happy, like,
yeah, I do.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like what you like. You just don't want to trade off for someone who can't be authentic and real and supportive and there for you.
And that's what scares me.
Yeah. And I would say with this one, stop asking yourself if he's the one, because that puts a lot of pressure on it.
Okay.
Just ask yourself, is he the one for me right now? Is there something beneficial? Am I enjoying this relationship? Can I learn from this relationship?
Yes.
Look out for the things that you think are red flags, because my read is, and okay, let me tell you my read. My read is, you'll see red flags sometimes when they're not there, and then sometimes you will ignore red flags when they are there.
Yeah.
So this relationship is an opportunity to hone your vision, your radar, your red flag detector, so that you can kind of know what's me reacting because I've been burned before.
Yeah.
And what's, this is really something wrong. Because sometimes what we do is we ignore the risk because we're really afraid or we don't want to see it. And other times we're really jumpy about everything. And that's kind of where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is a great opportunity for you to hone your radar. Okay. And learn to discern. And I think you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And there's already places where he's different than your previous partner. You definitely don't want anyone who encourages you to drink, but I don't think that's there.
No. He's sober. He's been sober 15 years.
Yeah. And he's committed. And he also, I feel that he has a little more spiritual nature, which you like intentionally. Is that accurate or no? And I don't think you had that before.
Yeah, he does.
And I think you enjoy sharing some of that. Again, he has the vibe of a playa. But I don't think.
Yeah, he does.
I think he's a flirt. I don't think he'd be cheating on you as long as you're clear on what you want. He is someone, however, that if the relationship was going to be over, like
it's quick.
On the way that they're showing it to me is in the middle, you're fine, but on the edges, he might stray as a way to break off the relationship. So if things are good and you're happy and everything's good, it's fine.
Okay.
But if you're like on the way out, he could be one of those people that jumps on the next ship
Oh, yes,
before
he could.
before
Yeah.
he like totally lets the doc go. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he could. I see
don't
that.
kid
Yeah, yeah.
yourself
Although,
about
yeah,
that. Okay. Does that
he's
make
been
sense?
single so long. Well, he's been single so long
So
that
he hasn't
he's
been in a
not.
relationship for so long?
No,
Then I don't know.
no, we
That's what
haven't.
I get.
We haven't even had coffee yet. I mean, we literally just talk after meetings.
Oh, okay. So you're not in a
And,
relationship with him. Got it.
well, we are. We text. We talk
Okay.
back and forth, but it's not. It's really struggling because I know he
Yeah.
cares. I know he likes me. I know he finds me attractive.
Yeah.
There's some fear there that I'm unable to figure out what it is, but there's a little bit of deception. There's some fear there, and I
Yeah.
know there's some fear
I
there.
don't get the sense that he hasn't been in other relationships. He might not have been married or whatever, but I don't get the sense that he has not done at least what he's doing with you with another woman in 12 years.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
'Cause he
No, he
says
may not have been
no.
in a serious relationship in 12 years, but this is just my sense. And again, I'm not going to invade his privacy, but this is the sense
Correct.
that I
Okay.
get, okay, through this
Okay.
read. But the deal is, look at it as an adventure, look at it as an experience, and
Okay.
don't immediately, and there's such a theme emerging today, don't immediately go to, is this the one or not? Because that's just the
Okay.
wrong, you're not at the place to know that or to ask that question. And as soon as you put on the, is it the one glasses, those are the
Mm.
ones that are going to be alternately rosy and black and rosy and black and rosy and
Okay.
black, you know,
Okay.
because, okay, it's landing, right? Because you're
Mhm.
skittish from past relationship, but you also want it to work out.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
better
I
to just
do.
say, this is the one for me to explore right now. And I do
Okay.
think something even better
Okay.
may be coming along. But he's a very good,
Oh, maybe.
yeah.
Oh, do you mean another person or just better with him? Because I've been thinking
I think
September
maybe
maybe
another
things will
person.
change.
I think maybe
Oh,
another
okay.
person down the line, but I don't think I'd still explore this one. You're still learning from it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
go ahead.
I adore him. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is, but I adore this man. I mean, I've never, even my husband, I didn't feel this way about. There's honesty, a lot of other things that I feel, but
Yeah.
I
And
never felt that.
the last thing I want to say is, in this human world, right? We have certain metrics about success, and of course you want another relationship. You know, I get that. That's the theme today. I also am ready for a new relationship. You know,
Okay.
I've left a long-term marriage that was
Mhm.
remarkable and wonderful, and I'm also super happy, you know, like, you know, so I get it. I'm single is what I'm trying to say, right? So I totally get
Yeah.
that desire. It's really fun to be partnered.
Yeah.
And I would say that we have this human idea that everything to be successful has to end a certain way or get a certain thing or a relationship for life, or, and sometimes these expectations that we have about how things are supposed to work take us out of the joy of actually how
Mhm.
something's working for us now. So a couple years ago, I had the, you know, the honor of losing both of my parents in a short amount of time. And,
Mm.
you know, and the first parent to go passed very, very quickly. And it was a shock. And I was still married. We'd been separated for a while. My ex had started a new relationship, but he wasn't super committed to it at that point. And
Mm.
you know, I really had a sense, and my dad lived where my husband did, and I would, you know, so I was going back to stay with my husband and, you know, my kids. And so it was like a kind of a murky situation for
Oh,
people that were
right.
separated and potentially and most likely moving towards divorce. And
Mhm.
anyway, there's a point in my sharing the story. And one of the things that happened was the weekend before my dad died, I met a guy. And I met a guy
Wow.
that I know is a soulmate, like 100% sure soulmate. Such a comfort
Right.
there.
Yeah.
And I had met him the year before. And so, like, you know, and we
Huh.
knew enough mutual people. I felt very like safe with him anyway. And it ended up um after my dad's funeral, I was there for a couple of days and whatever, traveling to go to this man's house and spend the weekend with him. Okay.
Hmm.
And it turned out to be one of the best things I ever could have done, because I didn't go back to my husband, and I had the love and the comfort that I needed over that weekend.
Oh.
to really get me over the hump of being, recently singled and losing my father. Right.
You had a bridge. You had
I
a
had a
bridge.
bridge. Right. And now that
Yeah.
relationship did not turn into anything more than that beautiful weekend that I really needed.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
But I don't regret a single moment of it. Right. It was what I need. It was there. And I've had other relationships too, where not really relationships. I haven't had one of those yet since my big 30-year one, but other like encounters where like, it was remembering or something opened up in me, or I was like, oh man, this reminds me, I don't want that. Right.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
look at all of these encounters as it's a buffet, and you're just tasting things on the buffet. And some things you're not going to want a second bite of, and some things you're going to want to eat a whole plate, but before you commit yourself to eating that for life and knowing if it's the one, enjoy some tasting time.
Just wish we could do a little more fun stuff. He's very committed to the program. He helps a lot of people, and he's very ADHD, and he gets distracted. And I have to remind him communication is part of the process if we're going to even be friends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's frustrating because communication can go up, it can go down,
and that's the nature of what it's going to be with him. And so you're going to have to decide if you can live with that. I don't think that's going to change.
I mean, he really is attracted to me. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
I can see and feel it. And I don't mind the dedication he has to the program because I think that's important. That part doesn't bother me. And he does pull himself in. When I say communication's an issue, he pulls in a little bit, but then he goes right back to being distracted.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And so the last thing I'm going to say before we wrap this one up, my beautiful friend, and I hope this landed, because we could do a whole session on this, go on for a long time, because I can see a lot of stuff there, but the last thing I would say is sometimes when maybe we haven't had the experience that we seek, right? We haven't had people show up for us the way that we want to in romantic relationships, or we don't believe it's possible, or we haven't, I want to get this from your guides because I'm getting it from my mind. And of course they say, go ahead. It's just about trusting yourself more, knowing it's okay to want what you want. You heard Scott at the beginning talk about, I want to be in a relationship, but I'm not dealing with any of the riffraff. You know what I mean? Like it's not worth making any compromises. I want what I want. And the reason he got to that place, my friend, okay, the reason he got to that place is because he knows in his heart, because of the work that he's done, that he deserves it. And so you need to know that for yourself too. If it's not here, it's not, and it's not, now, that's okay. Everything that you like about this man, you can find in somebody else, because like I said, there are a lot of things I liked about that weekend with that gentleman in New Jersey. He just wasn't ready for the kind of relationship that I was ready for. Right. And that's cool. That's fine. But I'm paying all of that forward. And I know that the next one's going to have all that and more.
Yeah.
And it's around you recognizing that that's possible, that you deserve this. It doesn't mean that you can't have fun now, but as soon as we're trying to change the person that's here, we're probably heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah. And that was the thing. Because if I can't love him as he is, then it's really not love. It's my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. And it's also just, you deserve more. You deserve someone that's going to give you what you want. Nobody's perfect, but we want to feel that love and support and tenderness, and that we matter in someone's world. And that's fine. That's important. All right. I'm going to say a little prayer, my beautiful friend, to let you go. I'm going to thank you for this great opportunity to live, to grow, and to serve.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to ask to release any attachments, may upon me myself, my client, extend time living overseas. This is my little closing prayer. Ask to release the expectations I have towards the outcome of the work that we do together today. And I ask that the outcome of this work serve the highest and greatest good. Well, thank you, my friend. I'm going to, actually, I can't mute you. I'm used to being in charge here, but maybe someone, there we go. Okay. I think we have time for 1 to 2 more, right?
Okay, great. So we have a few more. So I can bring Asla up. Asla, if you want to come off mute and on camera, that would be great.
Oh, cool. See, I don't even see all these people.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Beautiful. What would you like guidance on? Or I can tune
Uh,
into your energy first if you want.
Well, I think direction in general, direction in life.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need a man in my life right now. I am kind of putting things together. I'm separated from my husband. We'll hopefully divorce soon. And I moved from Turkey to the States
Okay.
a couple of years ago, and I feel like I'm adapting better to life here.
Oh, for sure. All right,
And
let me hop in
just
because I
direction.
don't want you to
Okay.
give me too much because I
Okay.
want
Good.
to be able to hear from your
Okay.
guides.
Yeah.
But I'll ask you follow-up questions.
Okay.
Don't worry. And I only see AG on your thing, so just give me your name one more time.
Oh, Aslı.
Asla. I ask the Ministry of Angels for myself, my client Asla, with your beautiful white light. As I open your light, as I open my heart to divine unconditional love and ask to connect to my highest self, guides and angels, and those of my client Asla. So to be a clear channel with which to receive and communicate their wisdom, I ask to release any expectations I may have towards the outcome of the work that we do together today. And I ask that the outcome of this work serve the highest and greatest good. Amen. Okay, I'm going to tune back in. So when you first asked the question, you said, I need direction. I had the image of you looking sort of like forward, but there's like this kind of haze. There's this kind of haze. There's this kind of fog. And
Yeah.
so you're kind of moving forward and through, but everything's sort of stirred up and nothing feels clear. Okay. And where I
Yes.
live
Yes.
here in San Diego, about, 2/3 of a mile from the beach, many mornings I wake up and I'm in the fog. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's so foggy I can't even see the ocean, right? Which is not so very far away from me, right? But
Mhm.
what often happens as the day goes on and things settle is that the fog burns off, the fog lifts, right? And then things become clear again. And what your guides want you to know is the fog will lift. The fog
Okay.
is lifting, right? But this is not going to be a time of, it's not really clarity, but like precision and, like tight corners. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm having trouble finding the word, like fine
Mhm.
acuity,
Mhm.
because a lot is just stirred up right now. There's just a lot
Yes.
going on. Now, I will say that when I tuned into your energy of your spirit and your soul, your higher self, you are one focused person. So you, in general, like energetically, when I tune into your energy, typically you are very laser focused. And it feels to me you have a goal, you have a thing that you want to do, and boom, you fly right to it. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It
And
is.
so right now, what your guides want you to know, what they don't want you to do is fly towards the wrong goal. So imagine that
Okay.
you're a plane now flying through dense fog, or a jet fighter plane, right? The last thing you want to do is like barrel into the wrong target.
Okay.
Right. And so this is
Yes.
a time to just allow yourself to be with a little bit of fog, a little bit of not knowing, a little bit of clarity, and wait. And they say when the fog burns off, the landscape will be much clearer, and the landscape will be very different than the one you knew before. Can you hear that?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna, yeah.
It's going to
I'm
be
expecting
very
some
different.
changes.
Yeah. So any decisions you made now, beyond the ones you have to make, because if you're in the fog, you have to, like, I once walked on the beach here in such a dense fog that I could only see like one step at a time. I mean, it was
Yeah.
crazy, like one little step. So, and I needed to keep walking because I did not want to live and die on the beach. I wanted to get home. So I did, I had to make some choices, and I had to watch my feet and one step at a time. Right. But I wasn't going to break out into a run, because even though I was walking in a place that I had been many times, and I kind of had a vague idea of where I was going and where the big rocks would be. Right. When you're in a dense fog and you can't see, a foot ahead of you, it's one step at a time. And that's what they want you to really focus on. It's not comfortable for you. It's not how you usually do things. You're usually like set a goal and laser to it, but now is simply not the time for that. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
And they
Yes,
say,
I hear that.
just like Victoria, they say, on that beautiful day when I walked on the beach, it's a really cool walk you can do here. When the tide is super low, you can walk from one town to another across this beautiful beach. And it's really remarkable. And, you know, when we set out to do that, because San Diego works like this, it was sunny. But midway through the walk, it was sunny no more. Right. And so just like that, I set out with an intention, right? To walk from that point back to my home. And you've set out with an intention too, and your intention is very, very clear. Okay. But for you, that intention brought up a lot of emotion. It's brought up a lot of things, hence the fog. Okay.
Yes.
So just be with it. Understand you still know where you're going. You have that clear direction in mind, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like leaving this relationship, moving forward, the things that you're doing, you're
for
clear,
sure.
you're unwavering, and you're going to get there. Okay. And in the meantime, one step at a time, is as far as you can see is as far as you have to decide. And when you get through this, when you get through this hurdle, when things settle down, when you're feeling a little bit more comfortable in your life, when you're feeling more settled, when the hard stuff is over, because there's a lot of hard stuff right now, the path moving forward will be clear.
Okay.
The sun will, and you'll be back to your old like self of like, I want to do this, and then you're going to go there. I want to do this, I want to go there, and things will, but the landscape will be so very different that any choices you made now would be irrelevant. So don't even try. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So should I try? Sometimes I feel like I'm trying very hard, and exactly like you said, I mean, should I not try this hard? Does that mean that I am actually trying to go to a certain direction and that may not be relevant? Is this what that means? I mean, should I just take it easy sometimes? I don't know. Am I putting too much effort into something that is not really worth it?
I don't feel now that any rockets that you try to launch will go very far, because you're not in a space where you can see where they're going, and it's kind of wet and damp where you are. And so the fuse isn't lighting very well. Okay. And I'd be concerned if you launch a rocket from where you are now, it's going to go somewhere that you did not intend it to go. And then it's just going to.
Okay.
So I think this is a time to focus on the immediate things that you need to do. And when you get through this phase, and again, they say emotionally things are very stored up for you as you get through this phase and the emotions start to settle down, and the nuts and bolts decisions that you're making in your life right now, like the big things that just have to be done to get through a divorce, to get through, there's a lot of, they're calling them nuts and bolts decisions. They're not long range decisions. They're short-term decisions. And there's a lot of short-term decisions that you're navigating. And those are the ones that you should focus on, the short-term decisions. And sometimes, look, we feel that I can't decide where to put my foot next if I don't know where I'm going. But you do know generally where you're going. Okay. You know, you do know generally where you want to be. Okay. You just don't know what that landscape's going to look like yet, because you can't see where you're going. Okay.
It makes sense.
So
Yes.
focus on what you can see in front of you now, and know when the fog clears and you're just a little more comfortable and you're not making so many of these, what they call nuts and bolts decisions. Like they're just a lot of and it's every decision you're making is stirring up a lot of emotional stuff. Whereas before, a lot of your choices were just, I want to do this thing. This thing feels good. I want to build this thing. Okay, I'm going to do it. But this isn't, there's a lot of emotion. And so when you get past this point, things are going to be clear. I have no doubt. And then I just see there's like a car waiting, and you hop in the car and just drive off. Okay. And you will drive off unpartnered for sure. I mean, you don't do it because I said to, but my feeling is you're crystal clear on your choice with your marriage. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like I just don't see, and it's the right choice for you. It's just not,
yes.
it's not feeling easy right now, because these things never are. You know, I mean, I won't say never are, but you know, I had a very, very smooth uncoupling, you know, with a lot of love from a beautiful relationship. And it still was emotionally heart-wrenching. Like, it's just what it is. Right. And so, and I don't think your situation is as clean as mine was. So does that make sense? So there's just, there's a lot you're dealing with now. Focus on those things and don't worry. And if you have goals like monetary goals, lifestyle goals, and I wouldn't forego another relationship though, right now, I definitely wouldn't put that in your mind. You need to get back on firm ground and know who you are before you'd even think about that. And I think you're so done right now, but what they're saying is if there's like bigger lifestyle things that you want to make sure that you have, just know that you'll have them. There's no question. You don't have to figure out how you're going to get there. Like, you're already kind of mostly there now, just one small decision at a time. And then when everything's over, you'll know how to rebuild. Okay. Another way of saying it, it's in the middle of the hurricane. You just gotta kind of take cover and figure out how to stay safe and, you know, do this, do that. You know, then after it's over, after the storm, you're going to, one, find out a lot of things that you still want are standing, and two, the things that aren't standing anymore. When the sun's out, it's much easier to find the pieces that you need to rebuild and move forward.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sending you a ton of love, my friend. Mwah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. Letting her go. All right.
Thank you, Victoria.
Time for like one more.
All right, we can bring Amy on because I know she's been. We have a few more people, but we have one more time.
We have a few more people.
We have Amy, Ayata.
We're always worried, and then they all come on.
Exactly. Okay. So we have, but I'll bring Amy on next. So Amy, I know you've been patiently waiting. So if you want to come, wonderful. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello. Good to see you.
Hi, Victoria. Oh, you
so
too.
All right. I should have gotten water because I'm like very thirsty, but I think I can still do this. All right. I'm going to ask the Ministry of Angels to surround myself and my client, Amy, with your beautiful white light. You're like doing this little dance. As I open my heart to divine unconditional love and ask to connect to my highest. You have a lot that you want to ask me about. As to connect to my highest self, guides, and angels, and this of my client, Amy, is to be a clear channel with which to receive and communicate their wisdom. I ask to release any expectations I have towards the outcome of the work that we do together today. And I ask that the outcome of this work serve the highest and greatest good. Amen. So there is, my friend, like a little bit of a heaviness in your heart right now, a real like heaviness in your heart, a heart hurt. Does that sound correct? I can't tell from your face.
Oh, now I can hear you. You froze for a second there.
Really? I should always be perfect with my Wi-Fi.
It's okay. It might be mine. Maybe it's mine. I haven't had anything cut out till right when you said there.
Okay. You have a little bit of a heart hurt in your space that I'm feeling.
I sure do.
Like it's a heartbreak. It's a heart hurt. I feel that there's a loss, there's a disappointment, and there was something or someone that you are clinging on to and trying so hard to make it work. And it feels to me, if I'm reading you correctly, that you've come to the determination that maybe that's not possible. And I think you feel a little bit gutted. Is that accurate or way off?
Perfectly accurate.
Okay. Phew. I don't go that specific all the time. All right. Well, I'm not laughing.
That was shocking. Go ahead.
That was a big read. So I wanna have some compassion. And one of the things that I feel is complicating this, I don't think you have children, but I do see maybe animals. But I could be wrong. Maybe you do have children, but it feels like, okay, so that's part of it.
Maybe not with this situation.
Well, I feel like there's like younger energy involved in this, but I can't tell if it's animals, plants. But the bigger thing is there's a feeling of you having put a great investment into this relationship and into this person. And so there's some frustration. There's a little bit of anger, though. I don't think anger sits well with you. I think you're one of those people that you drink anger down and it just burns and you feel like you swallowed a bunch of like knife blades, but you don't ever let it out. So that's something to talk about. Because it's important to express our anger, even if we don't express to the person we're angry at. Sometimes you don't need to do that. Sometimes you do, sometimes, but oftentimes you don't. But it does need to be expressed. You shouldn't swallow knife blades or razor blades.
Right.
It's not good for your throat. But so that's one thing to talk about. But the other thing is, it feels like you feel like you put a lot of investment into this person and into the relationship. And that's what makes it so disappointing. But what I want to say to you, similar as we told 2 people ago, my left brain will not remember names after when I'm in this state, but the one in the car, the idea that, you know what I mean? Like we learn from every relationship, and you gained so much from trying to make this one work. I mean, you've grown tremendously through this relationship. Do you see that?
Yes. Yes.
Like
Big time.
ginormously, like,
Yeah.
and there are things and patterns that you work through here that you will never go back to. You don't know this yet, but your guides are like, she's done. She's done. And these have been things that have been part of your life forever. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So they say, as hard as this is, they want you to count this as a win. It's a win. This was a tremendous experience. Be so glad you did it. Yay for you. Yay for you for walking away, if that's the choice that you're going to make, which it feels like it is, but it hurts your heart so bad. So you're still like, it's still a little hard for you to let go. That's you have a little codependent heart is the way I see it. Okay. And it's going to be very important for you to find some ways to process your anger. Okay. And the one thing that I see you doing, and then I'm going to stop and see how this lands, because this is a lot of me talking, is what would be phenomenal for you to do. My guides always give me like these particular ways to move anger, and they're different for everyone. Okay. Just so you know, it's so fascinating to me. Some people it's ripping paper or stamping, or, in the therapy, I've had so many kids come to me and be like, my therapist told me to punch a pillow or scream in a pillow and it doesn't work. I'm like, because that's not the only way. I feel for you. And this is, do it safely and not at anyone, but throwing knives into a hard thing would be amazing for you. So if that is something that you can do, okay, throwing knives at a board. Why are you laughing? Do you do that?
I'm laughing because me and my son literally just did that last week.
There you go.
Knives and stars and axes all at this big piece of wood out here.
Yeah. So keep that, doing that.
And it was fun. Yeah. Okay, I will.
And it's a great, I'm so glad that they gave me something that was possible. No, it's huge. The stars are also phenomenal. They're phenomenal. I love the stars because the stars, even though they are kind of weaponized, they also feel kind of superpowery.
Yeah.
And there's that feeling too of, I'm not harming anyone. With my anger, I'm using it and turning it into my superpower by letting that energy flow.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? And
it does.
Also using this experience, right, as building my own sense of power, and my just, letting that energy flow to reconnect with me and my own inner strength. Okay. And again, for those of you listening who are not Amy, don't throw knives at people, and find your own thing. It's different for everyone. And, sometimes too, this is not for you. This is for everyone else. Cause they might be hearing it. Like, you'll know when something is moving anger in a constructive way, because you just feel free. You just feel free. It feels good. It feels in flow. If that same action is making you feel more juiced up and more angry and more like, that son of a bitch deserves it, that can feel good for like a hot minute. Like, I'd say you can do that for about a minute, max 30 seconds. For me, it's about 3 seconds. And then I usually get it off my chest. But that's juicing the anger. So it's just about understanding that anger is an energy, and that some of these movements and some of these things can help us to release. And it doesn't mean, of course, that you can't also sometimes give word to what you're feeling, because sometimes we want to do that too. You don't need to do it in so much, because so much of your anger is internalized. And most of the words that you give and the stories you give are not what, I think it's a he did. It's what, a lot of times it's, you bring it, as soon as what he did is in your mind, you come back to what I did. And what's wrong with me? I allowed it. I did this. I was this. I was that. So you
This
could
is
use
my part. That's my part.
Yeah,
my
you could
part,
use
my
a little
part.
more of the what he did. You
Okay.
could actually really, really, really use a little more. Not to him. That doesn't matter. What he think. It's not a matter of who's right or who's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. I want everyone to hear this. Doesn't matter. There's no, it's not at the end of the day, you can both be right and you can both be wrong because you have different perspectives and you don't
Yes.
have to change anyone else's mind for you to hear, honor, and, acknowledge your own truth of the situation. And that's what you need to do. And oftentimes when we tune in and we say, that was shitty, that made me feel bad. That was not okay. I didn't like that. Right. I wish I didn't have to do that. I wanted something more. When we can say those things to ourselves, it frees us, it frees them. And then those stories, they lose, it ceases to matter anymore. But we have to bear witness to them first. And you haven't done that as much as you could yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
And when you have friends and people that you share with, find the ones that are listeners and huggers, not listeners and juicers.
Yes, absolutely.
So not the ones, he's a jackass.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm very sweary, Jill. I hope that's allowed. It's not, bleep me.
I already let one slip. Oops.
Yeah. Sometimes the guides, it just comes through that way. But Amy, does that make sense? So not the ones who are gonna you needed that to a certain point because you needed to see it that way to take action. But at this point, you just need someone to sit with you and say that, honey, that was hard. That was hard. That was hard. And because you're such a kind and loving soul, you put up with a lot, and you put up with a lot because you wanted to see the best in this person. You wanted this person to be able to be what you wanted him to be, because of course you could see how they could do it.
It's true.
We can see how the other person can get there. The problem is if they're not ready to get there yet, you're wasting your breath.
Yeah.
Find someone who's already there, and you can hold someone in the light, right? And understand that, they're bigger than how they're presenting themselves. They're better.
Yes.
They're bigger than their bad behavior.
Yes.
But that's not an excuse to be in the vicinity of things that don't make you feel good.
Right.
Because you deserve more. Does that make sense?
It does. All of it.
Yay, I'm glad you
nailed
came
it.
on today. I'm glad you came on today.
Me too.
It's always the right people at the right time. Is there anything else? I think that pretty much hammers it, but
that was that you hit the nail on the head with that. I did have one, I think I have one question. I'm really interested to know if you see anything about what I'm launching right now, my rockets. You mentioned rockets.
Give it time. You have a lot of different things in the air.
Yeah.
And you're pretty determined.
Yeah.
And I think at least one is going to go for you. But right now, like we said to, I can't remember her name, AG over there, right now, you've just been you're in a tremendous growth spurt.
Yeah.
Understanding who you are, how you relate to others, who you want in your world, how you want to be in your world, how you want to show up in the world, and what that's going to look like. Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
And so I'm not telling you not to do things, do whatever feels fun and exciting, but just know there's a lot of things up in the air. Right. And so some of those knives might hit the mark right away, and others, might hit the rock on the ground. You know what I mean? And just, sorry. And just stay with it. Just stay with it.
Yep. That makes sense. Right.
Yeah. And I think some of them are going to land, but the landscape for you is also going to be changing because you're in just a tremendous growth spurt, and your guides really want to honor you. They say you're right on track. Sending you so much love.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very grateful, Victoria. Thank you. That was my right on time, babe.
Sending you love.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Victoria. So are we wrapping up for today?
Is that everyone?
Well, no, we have two more, but I don't know if you have time for them. So
I think we can do one more. I mean, yeah.
Okay. But we'll bring Ayata on, and then, so Ayata, if you want to unmute and come on video, that would be great. And yeah, let's go from there. Unmute and start video. Okay, great.
Hello.
Hi there. Yeah, sorry, I just got home and I'm in my car and there are a bunch of people inside, so
I have done so many
I'm
readings for
having
people in their
to
cars.
sit
Oh, why am I
in my car, but
freezing? Yeah, no worries at all.
okay.
All right, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say a little prayer to set the energy, just so I
Okay.
can let go of Amy and tune into you, because I'm getting tired, and then I will ask you what you want guidance on. Okay. Okay, so I'm letting go of Amy. There we go. All right, that's gonna help. I'm gonna ask them one more moment. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna ask Ms. Ravian for myself and my client, Ayata, with your beautiful white light.
Ayata.
Ayata. As I open my heart to divine unconditional love and ask to connect to my highest self, guides, and angels, and as my client, Ayata. To be a clear channel with which to receive and communicate their wisdom. I ask to release any expectations I have towards the outcome of the work that we do together today. And I ask that the outcome of this work serve the greatest good, highest and greatest good. Amen. So when I tune into your energy, I see you in your car, and then I see the peanut gallery over in your house. And I get the sense that there's definitely love there. But sometimes like whoever's over there in the house that you are not in right now, that it can be a little overwhelming for you. It can be a little overwhelming. There's like a lot of activity and drama, if I'm reading it correctly. And sometimes you just want to like take off your shoes and like go walk, I would say the beach, but it feels like there's like a stream that you like to walk by. But anyway, tell me what you'd like guidance on today. And why am I so freezy?
Well, I'm just sort of coming out of a pretty intense crisis. My oldest son has just been, is in the hospital and will be for some time with a life-threatening, very sudden condition.
Okay.
And, I was down in California. I'm back up on Vancouver Island now. And so just went through a lot of, I was dealing with some trauma down there.
Okay.
And then it was a very difficult journey up here overland. And then, not knowing if my son was going to survive and all that. And the family being very traumatized as well. And so I'm just kind of landing back here now and needing to stay here and put my life back together in a new way. So, yeah, I'm just feeling like I'm in this whirlwind. And so any perspective you could.
1000%. So Ayata, I remember you now because you were on Awakening World sharing this, correct? That's you. And I did not pipe in.
Right.
I did not pipe in that day because there are other people that did, but I had a very strong sense on that day that your son was going to be okay. And it feels like he is, right? He's doing all right.
He's coming through.
Yeah. And so I got full body chills. I reiterate again, I get it again. Yeah, there's no question. He's telling me I'm going to pull through completely. And, he may have some like residual little things, but, so he may not be as hardy as he was after, but like he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And he says it was a tremendous learning experience for him, a tremendous growth experience. Does that feel right from what he shared with you?
Wow.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able to speak that much yet, but I would absolutely think that's very likely.
Yeah. I had that sense then, like I remember now. Sometimes I don't like put things together, but I'm remembering with my intuition. I remember that night, and I remember other people spoke up, and so I was not the one to tell you, but I had a very strong sense that he was going to pull through, and I still think he is. And again, it's going to be some time for him to come back. He wants you to know that he loves you. He appreciates your support. I feel that you rightfully know that whatever you can do now to like get your nervous system back grounded, back regulated, back, and stop trying to carry everybody else on your back, which is the peanut gallery at the house, and make some commitment to take care of you. Because I do feel like oftentimes you're the pinnacle or the center of that family, and they all kind of come to you, and it just was too much. It's really going to help. It's going to be a somewhat long journey for him, but it's a welcome journey. He says, I'm going to gain and learn a lot from this experience. I'm really happy to have you with me. He says his family, I'm talking to his higher self. He says, my family is doing, I believe he has a family. Is that correct? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're doing much better with this whole thing than could have been expected. Like they're really, it's been a lot for them, obviously, but they're doing really, really well. And the thing that you have to understand, I think you know this, but it's hard to know it when you're going through it. In these kinds of situations, a soul doesn't invite these things randomly. This was really important for everybody's growth. Like, I mean, you don't have to learn life this way. It can be really easy and joyous, but there was something he really wanted to explore from this experience, and he's getting that. Okay. And he says, Mom, you know a lot about near-death experiences. So you know what this is about for me. Is that true? Your face says no.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, the big thing is that his spirit came to me on about the second or the third day and told me I felt him come in, and he said, I'm just basically described to me that he has just suffered so much in his lifetime, and he's just burnt out. And, I welcomed him like a mother would as a young child. And I actually put my arm around him, even though I couldn't see him, but I felt him there, and I held him for a lot of the night and just let him know that I was really going to be there for him and help him through this. And so I feel like that helped to shift the balance, to help to bring him back, because he knew somebody was really getting it, how much he had suffered, and has I've always cared, but there was that moment of opening there for him to be able to come to me to say, I see you, I love you, I hear you, I'm going to help you.
Yeah. And if I'm hearing him correctly, and if I'm hearing your guides correctly, they'd like you to put the suffering down now. Just let it go, release it. You don't have to be the keeper of his suffering anymore. That's not what's going to free him. That was a moment that you had, and how you were able to connect with him. And also letting him know, because you didn't say it, but in that moment, I know that it was implicit that if you're done and you want to move on, you can. You gave him permission in that moment to move on if he chose to, and he chose not to. But you gave him permission. You said, if this is too hard and you don't want to move forward, you don't have to. And he says, that freed me to make a choice. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And it freed me to make a choice too, to come back and lighten the load on my suffering a little bit. He says, like, when I regain consciousness and awareness, like I will see things in a different way. I will see things, or I have the potential to see things in a different way. Okay. But what I'd like you to do, if you feel comfortable about this, is when you have a little bit of time, imagine this blanket of suffering. It looks like a baby wrapped up in a blanket, but it's just a glob of pain. Okay. And what he'd like you to do when you have time, I keep seeing a river. So I don't know if there's like a river near you that you like to go to. Okay. But I see you going
Yes, there is. Yes.
Yeah. Going to the river and releasing that blanket, like put the baby in the river, put the whatever in the river. He's like, you can't let go of anything that's fundamental. Right. So even if my human self were to drift away from this exercise, which I just don't see that it would, because one's suffering is not one's identity, it's not one's soul. It's just the baggage we carry around that sometimes gets us into these messes. He's like, then I'll be renewed. So he'd like you to go to the river together and let it go. And he says, while you're at it, if you want, let go of your suffering too. And he says, if I'm hearing him correctly, let go of your need to heal the world by addressing the suffering. Let us walk together in peace and joy and brightness and understanding and strength and power, because that's where I'd like to go when I come out of this. And that's where, how I'd like to be seen.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And
thank you.
Yeah. You're going to feel so good afterwards. Now, there are some people in your world that will not see it that way. It's not your job to convince them. It's just your job to hold the truth in your heart about how powerful and brave your son is go through this experience, and also how it was very much desired. Like, even though it seems like a hardship, he said, I'm learning. He just keeps saying, I'm learning so much from this experience. I'm learning so much for this experience. I do see him coming back. I don't see him crossing over. And I do see him coming back with a certain amount of lucidity, but he'll be softened. And, you know, it may adjust how he lives his life, but it's like, it won't break me, he said. And it's a great learning for he has a wife and children. Is that correct? No.
Well, he has a couple kids, but they've been separated for quite a while, and it's been very painful.
Well, it's a good learning for her. It's a good learning for her. It's a benefit for her, this experience. Okay. And a benefit for them.
Okay. Well, that's really good to hear, because she's been actually quite abusive for a long time. He's a very tender spirit, and she's been very, very harsh.
He's finding his power. He's finding his power. Okay. And he says he knows that you're also there as much as you can be for his children, who he says are doing very well, and he visits them too. Okay. And take whatever you need to do to process everything that's going on, and keep the little remembering that I think you have inside of you, that everything in life is a blessing, even the hard stuff. And he says, even if I crossed over tomorrow, I've let you know that I can connect with you and that I'm still here. And he is. And I really do feel he's going to make a full recovery. Again, he has free will and whatever, but I just feel like he's continuing to do better and better every day.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because that's been my feeling too. And I've prayed for a full recovery for him, on the condition that if it is his soul's decision to stay on, then may he have a full recovery.
And he says,
there's always that proviso.
Yeah.
To his soul.
Yeah. And he says, as soon as you were talking, he said, and thank you for making this letting this be my choice. I mean, it is anyway, but thank you for acknowledging and letting it be my choice. He says, I cannot tell you how much that means to me. And for a mother to do that within her heart, I mean, God bless. I mean, that's just huge. That is, that is like the pinnacle personification of what it means to have unconditional love, my friend. And so he is so grateful for you. And he says, whatever this journey is, just seeing that it's mine and mine alone, and I can use it and, abuse it or whatever I do the way that I want, and trusting in myself and my own agency and loving me through all of that. He's like, namaste. He's just like, thank you so much. And thank you for seeing me and honoring that for me. And he's very grateful for, I mean, I don't know how he'll feel when he wakes up, but he's very grateful for this experience. He just keeps saying, I'm growing and learning so much for it. It was very much invited, and it has the potential to be a pivotal factor in my life, and also in the lives of those around me, in what will ultimately be a beneficial way. Okay. And he just keeps saying, thank you for honoring me.
I sense that. Oh, that's good. Thank you. Yeah. I really sense that it's a life-changing moment for him.
For sure. Yeah. He says, understandably, you're going to see it as a tragedy. Your heart can't not, but he's also saying, if you can see it as a gift too, at the same time, he's like, that will give us both peace. All right, my friend, I'm sending you so much love and prayers and blessings. I'm glad we got to connect, because I remember you from that night, and my heart went out to you then. And I'm going to thank you for this great opportunity to grow and to serve. I'm going to ask to release any attachments made upon me, myself, my client, or extended family, living or deceased, or any other beings or energies that came out to play. I also ask to release any expectations I have towards the outcome of the work that we do together today. And I ask that the outcome of this work serve the highest and greatest good. Amen. All right. Sending you guys
Thank you, Victoria,
so much love. You're very welcome. Thanks everyone for coming on today. And it was beautiful to see the themes that emerged. I know that a lot of people watching this are going to resonate with so many of the messages that came through and so many of your stories. So thanks each and every one of you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Victoria. That was absolutely beautiful. And yeah, the themes that came through of
it's crazy, right?
And moving forward in our lives, and, dealing with loss of partners and loved ones and these big life transitions. So, yeah, and for everyone, all of you guys tuning in and watching, I'm sure just like me, you received a lot of messages that resonated with you, because if you were called to tune in, whether you received the direct reading from Victoria or not, there were so many messages there for everyone. So Victoria, thank you so much for everyone, all of our amazing guests that came in and received a reading, for all of you watching live or on the replay. And of course, you can always tune in and connect with Victoria on Soul Search. She does private sessions where she goes much deeper. Imagine she's doing such incredible work in just a few minutes here. So, in the intuitive counseling and spiritual guidance that Victoria really works in day to day, she goes even much deeper. So for any of you who are, being called and resonating with what you're hearing, of course, you can connect with Victoria through Soul Search and through her website. And of course, tune in and join us next week on Tuesday. And you too can sign up for a live reading. Just go on the link on Eventbrite and you can do that as well. And Victoria, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks
everyone.
Thank you all. Take care. Bye.
Welcome to Ask Your Spirit Guides with Dr. Victoria Shaw, your weekly gateway to divine guidance and soul alignment. Each week, intuitive counselor and spiritual teacher Dr. Victoria Shaw connects with spirit to bring through live channeled messages from your personal guides, offering clarity, healing, and support on your journey. Whether you receive a personal reading or simply tune in, know that every episode delivers a powerful energetic transmission meant just for you. We're live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific on Soul Search TV, streaming online on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our mobile app. Take a deep breath, open your heart, and prepare to receive. This is Ask Your Spirit Guides, and your journey starts now.